Hi, hello to my next screencast. This one is going to be about substitutions in Microsoft Flow approvals. But before I move on, I'd like to encourage you to follow me on my Twitter to see my blog post, because I'm really writing there a lot of interesting things, and I think you can really benefit from reading them. So just to start with, substitutions in Microsoft Flow is a thing that has not yet really been described anywhere, I think. So that is a first approach I've seen in the internet. Currently, once you assign a task in Microsoft Flow approval, if you don't reassign this task to someone else, then possibly there is no way to do it from the interface if you're gone or if you're on holidays. Well, basically if you're out of office. So the only way to do it with the free version of Power Platform with no premium subscription is to somehow get into the account of the current assignee and then reassign a task to someone else. But if you have a premium account, if you have, a premium subscription for Microsoft Flow and you have access to common data services, then a whole new world of possibilities is getting unveiled for you. Basically, the Flow approval is stored all in common data services. This is like a very simple schema of the relationships between entities that you can find in common data services. So basically, the first one, the root, the core, is the approval. So that's the entity that really holds like the header information of the approval task. It holds information of who assigned the task, when it was assigned, what is the outcome, when it was completed, what is the title. So that's the approval header. Then the Flow approval here, that is an entity that holds all the metadata of a task, like Flow GUI that assigned the task, the URL to the task, and so on and so on. In approval request entity, Microsoft Flow is holding all the information about the assigned tasks, right? So if you have like a task that is assigned to 5 people, then in approval request you'll find 4 entries, 1 per each assignee. Then approval response is the entity that is used to register how the task was completed. And again, if a task is configured to wait only for first response, you will find only a single item, only single entry here. However, if a task is configured to wait for all responses and you have those 5 assignees, then obviously in approval response you'll find 5 entries, 1 per each completed task. And lastly, Microsoft Flow is not assigning a task personally to a user. Like, it's not really holding information about the user object from like Azure Active Directory, for example. No, the information about who is assigned a task is held in user entity. This is where Common Data Services is keeping all the information about the users that have access to the environment. So here you can find email, names, last names, full names, phone numbers, addresses, a lot of information that is basically used by the CRM. However, the user object, I know all them are called texts, but this is not text, it's like a person, GUID, and so on. Anyway, the user object is the one that really is being looked up from every entity that keeps even a little of information from the approval process. Then let's imagine a scenario that my John researcher here, the person has a couple of tasks assigned, right? Basically, the ones that are really crucial here are called the task John. So let's focus on them for a moment. And now let's imagine John is going on holidays. So like, if he's gone, I have basically no real possibility to reassign his task to myself. However, as I said, there is a possibility to do it via the common data services. So you need to have the premium plan to really go into common data services and handle this approval right from there. As you saw on the diagram, there are three entities that play the primary role in the approval process. So the approvals, that is the header information, the request, which are the assigned tasks, and approval response, which is the entity that is holding all the responses from the approvals. Now, if you want to reassign a task to someone else, well, the best way is to simply go to approval requests entity. And then what you really have to do is to edit this data in Excel file. So once you hit the button to edit in Excel file, you just get the Excel file downloaded. And as you open it, you will realize that its contents are showing all the entries from the approval requests entity. And just give it a moment, you need to load the information. And yep, so there it is. Now what I want to do, I want to reassign, like for the beginning, one task from John Researcher to myself. So as you saw, John has like 3 tasks called the test John. Me, as the approver who is not going on holidays, I have none. I can even refresh to show it to you. So I have no test John tasks yet assigned. So right now I just need to find a task assigned to John. To be honest, I have no idea which of them is not completed, because this interface is really not telling me what is not complete, what is complete, what is not completed. I'll just sort it, and then basically using, and hopefully using some sort of created date, I will be able to get his task to me. Right, so let's try with this one. So now once I click on the column owner lookup, that is the column that you really have to modify. The owner is the person who is assigned a task. So now if I change this person to me, I'm here at the bottom, and now publish it, and then refresh. Yep. Then what I should notice in just a moment, maybe first here, is that one of those test John tasks is going to be gone. All right, there are just now 2. You see, no test John, no test John. And then if I go to my account, I already have this test John task that I can simply approve or reject on behalf, like maybe not on behalf, but instead of John Research, right? And it's done. However, what I also want to show you is that this can be done in a slightly different way. So I am a fan of automation, and the substitutions process is something that is fairly easy to be handled automatically. So what I'm usually doing at customers is that I'm creating a very simple list, let it be on SharePoint or in common data services, that basically tells who is going to be substituted. Who is going to be substituted? Who is going to be a substitute? So who's going to replace? Who is going to be on holidays? So who's going to be out of office? Starting when the substitution is valid, and then when it should finish. Now in this entity, I have also 2 calculated columns, so the substitute for ID and substitute ID. These columns basically are just working on the related substitute or substitute for columns. And what they are doing is showing the email address of the person who is either in the substitute row or the substitute for row. Right, it just takes a little of time. So that is basically the calculation that is being used to get the information. So now what I want to do is I will edit this entity as well. I will add a new record. So I'll define my substitution for John Researcher. And yeah, I'll just remove the first row and then add the new one. So the owner is just me, but that is not the problem. Now the substitute, that is me. Substitute for is John Researcher. Substitution from, let's say from yesterday until today. And now you'll notice that once I hit publish here, yep, I want to remove one record. So it has been published. Let's refresh it. So you can see that the information about substitute and substitute for has been updated, and as well my calculated columns has also been refreshed with the email addresses. Now the next step of my substitution automation is Microsoft Flow. This one that I'm showing you is being triggered manually, but that's really an easy job to trigger it automatically on a schedule. So like every day in the morning, you trigger a flow that is simply checking this entity or SharePoint list if there are any substitutions that should be like assigned today. So first, what it does, it just takes the today's date and it puts in a format of just year, month, and day. Then what it's doing is querying the substitutions list to get a list of substitutions that are matching the date. Next, what it does is it is crawling the list of approvals, so all these tasks that are still pending approval, so that are still not complete, that has no result, because if they have a result, they are completed. And also getting the list of all assigned tasks, so all the records from the list approval requests. Next, what I'm doing is I'm simply getting only a list of approval IDs from the first entity. So this way I have like an array of GUIDs of all these tasks that are still not completed. And next, I am removing from the list of still assigned tasks all those that are completed, right? So if the GUID from the approval request is still on the list, it stays, otherwise it's gone. And next, for each substitution, so for each record from the first substitutions entity, what I'm doing is I'm again filtering out a list of active approvals to leave only those that has the owner ID matching information about for whom the substitution is set. So in this case, this action will leave me only entries that are assigned to John Researcher. And lastly, for each such entry, what I'm doing is I'm just updating the original owner with the substitute value, right? So that it is owner. So I'm just replacing the original owner with the new one. All right, so let's check it out if it works. So you can see that it really works fairly fast. So first, the list of substitutions have been done. Now there is a list of all assigned tasks. Now you can see that there is only a list of tasks. I mean, you can't see, but just imagine that there is just a list of tasks which are still active. And because I have just one single record of substitution, that is this one, right? Then for each loop, I have just a one run and just a couple of records that are still assigned to John Researcher. Well, 8 of them there were. So now once I go back to John Researcher tasks list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And refresh it, you'll notice he has none. All were reassigned to me. But if I go back to my approvals, you'll notice I have a lot of them, right? So right now I'm not only assigned tasks from John, but also mine. So all possible tasks that were still pending on John have been reassigned to me. So that was the second approach. And now the third one is an application I have built to manage substitutions from the Power Up application. So I've created a fairly easy application that what it does, I'll show you just in a second what it does. Right, so first, on the beginning, it gets information about current approvals and current approval requests, and it saves the information to collections because then I can work on them faster, and also I can use expressions that are not delegatable. I mean, I cannot delegate to Common Data Services to process them on their side, but working on collections is not an issue for them. So the application is quite easy, right? On the left side, there is a gallery that is showing me all the information from the current list of tasks. So that is the gallery that is showing me information from active assignments. So all the approval requests list, and it tells me who is assigned the task and when the task was assigned and what is the title and so on. And I can just simply click here and refresh and check. I mean, yeah, just open the task. And here, another thing is that I can change the assignee, and that is crucial. So, like, I can go here to, for example, this task, and say, okay, I don't want the posture tag to be an assign. I want John Researcher, and hit change assignee. And you see that the assignee for the test edit has been changed from me to John Researcher. And then again, if I go back to John Researcher's list of tasks, you'll notice that he has a task assigned that he has to complete. Now, how it's done? Well, it's very easy. This combo box here has simply a lookup to users, and then this area here, it basically gets the information of the selected item from the combo box dropdown, and the change assignee button is just patching the record based on the approval ID index, and is updating the owner of the task to the one that is selected in the combo box dropdown. So that is really, really easy. There is no complex logic behind, no really fancy things. So these are the three approaches I wanted to show you that will allow you to work with task assignees and replace them in real time. So even if the task approval is pending, even if the approval is really on, you can change the assignee and then ask another user to complete the task if the original assignee is out of office or is absent or has left job or whatever, for whatever reason is not capable of handling the approval on their behalf. So yeah, I think that you can find it useful. The application is uploaded to Power App's community gallery, so you can check it out there, how it works and how it's built in the details. And also look for the blog posts on my blog, where you can really find the detailed information about how the flow was created and how you can replicate it in your environment. So, from my point of view, the most interesting approach is of course the one with the Microsoft Flow and the Substitutions entity, because it easily allows you to define a list of substitutions for the future and then just leave it all to the Microsoft Flow scheduled workflow, so that you can really make your work, and be sure that Microsoft Flow is taking care of the substitutions and you don't have to bother yourself. So that's just my point of view. Anyway, that is all I had for you prepared. So thank you very much. And again, please follow me on my Twitter and see my blog posts to find even more information about what I'm working on. Thank you very much. Bye.